chapter 33rd through the 35th verse from the King James Version of the Bible. And when they were come to a place which is called Calvary, where they crucified him and the malefactors, one on the right hand and the other on the left. Then Jesus says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They parted his raiment and cast lots. And the people stood beholding, and the rulers also with him derided him, saying, He saved others, let him save himself, if he be the Christ, the chosen of God. May be seated. I'd like to ask you a question. Were you there? Were you there? The account of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ is by far the most passionate, heart-rending, emotion-packed, tear-jerking story in the entire Bible. It has no parallel in the Holy Scriptures. It is in a class by itself. No other biblical narrative can be compared to it as it relates to the stirring emotion. The very thought of the crucifixion provokes anger, resentment, sympathy, physical trembling, and spiritual shock. After 1 year, I wish I had somebody to talk back to me now. Yeah, that sounds all right, but I need you to talk back to me. If you dwell too long on the events of last Friday, it may cause a severe mental depression. You have to hurry and transfer your thoughts to Sunday morning. You can't dwell on the event of Friday too long if you want to keep your mental sanity. Somebody needs to help me. All four of the gospel writers, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, devote more space to the crucifixion and its accomplishing event than they do to any other phase of life, of ministry of Jesus Christ. They all give a detailed account of the horrifying drama, which we call the crucifixion. Artists, sculptors, authors, poets, and composers alike have read the story of the crucifixion and have been inspired to give the world masterpiece of art, literature, and music. Some of our most beloved songs are centered around the painful ordeal, which we call the crucifixion. The beautiful spiritual cavalry is a musical verification of the fact that Jesus died. Indeed, and he gave his life for you and me. It says, surely he died on Calvary. And then the composer seeks to involve his listeners and bring them to the scene. He says, don't you hear the hammers ringing? Don't you hear him calling his Father? Don't you hear him say, it is finished? Surely he died on Calvary. Then there is the beautiful composition which begins by saying, on a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And it goes on to say, and I love that old cross for the dearest and best, for a world of lost sinners was slain. Further, there is the spiritual composition which is entitled Crucifixion. it says they crucified my Lord, and he never said a mumbling word. Not a word, not a word, not a word. But the song title which sets the tone for us is the spiritual song which asks a question, which we all have to deal. And the question is, were you there when they crucified my Lord? Now, I'm sure that your reaction to such a question is an emphatic, no, I wasn't there, because it happened too many years before my death. But sisters and brothers, before I finish this sermon, I'm going to ask you, were you there? And only you can answer that question. Talk back to me. Maybe the composer in his imagination was speaking to Mary. Mary Magdalene, John, the mob of the Roman soldiers, or he could have been speaking to Simon of Cyrene, or one of the other thieves who were nailed beside him. Y'all look so good to me. You look so good to me. All of those persons could give a positive answer to the question, were you there? They were all eyewitnesses to the crucifixion. They were there when they pierced him in the side. They were there when he hung his head and died. Yes, they were there. But not me, Rome. I wasn't there. Well, that is your reaction. Allow me to give you a word of caution. Now, before you disassociate yourself from this sermon about were you there, you need to listen to what I'm saying. You see, at the crucifixion, there was a large crowd of people. They were from various groups and various individuals, which represented various trends and thoughts. In short, there were several mentalities, or should we say there were several different attitudes. And during the period of your self-evaluation, you might see yourself standing in the crowd at the cross. Were you there? Y'all gonna help me? Don't fool me now. Y'all gonna help me? Yeah, the first group of people that attended the crucifixion, Harris, you got to preach this thing. The first group of people who attended the crucifixion may be referred to as instigators. Yeah. The instigators were the ones who organized the Stop Jesus movement. They were the ones who made it their priority to destroy him. Talk back to me. They were the ones who forced the hand of Pontius Pilate, telling him that unless he gave the death sentence, he was no longer a friend of Caesar. Yes, these were the instigators. So they were there in full force. As the nails were being driven through his hand and feet, they looked on him with a great sense of pride and accomplishment. When the soldiers picked up that cross with Jesus nailed to it, and when they dropped it in the hole, and the entire weight of Jesus' body felt the thrust of the pole and the cross dropped in the hole. Can you imagine the pain that he felt? But all those instigators, they were the ones had a smile on their face. What a shame. Are you going to talk to me? Yeah. Unfortunately, there are people today in our church who have the instigator mentality. Yes, they were at the crucifixion. And I need to ask you a question. Were you there? Yeah. The next group who attended the crucifixion could be labeled as the preach Harris, the agitators. Yeah. In the church you have some agitators. Yeah. They were related to the instigators. They were not as bold as the instigators, but they were in the same family. The agitators did not spearhead the movement to destroy Jesus. Can I help you? They supported it. Yeah. I don't know whether he did it or not, but I tell you what, if you say he did, I support the fact that he did. That's an agitator. I heard it, didn't see it, but I heard it. That's the agitator. Are y'all gonna talk to me? Yeah. They were not at the planning meeting when it was decided that Jesus had to go. But when they saw the momentum, when they saw the movement gaining momentum, they jumped on the bandwagon. Tony can identify they are like football players who never instigate or make the tackle, but as soon as somebody else make the tackle, they jump on the pop. Are y'all gonna talk back to me? Yeah. What did the child? Lily Flag, you can identify with me with this one, Lily. Child, it sure is a shame. The way that old sorry pastor is doing. Yeah. And if they decide to get rid of it, I'm going to support it. I had one tell me I didn't vote for you, and I didn't vote against you. But whatever the church decides, Mary Davis, that's what I'm going along with. That's that agitator. They were not at the planning meeting, but they supported it. Agitators are big talkers. They don't do the dirty work, but they serve as cheerleaders for those who do. They really have their fun at the trial. So you say, watch this agitator, Jesus hanging on the cross. So you say, pointing over at him, you say, you're the Son of God. You're the one that says if you destroy this temple in 3 days, we'll build it up again. That's what you said. Well, the agitators now, well, if you say that, why don't you come off the cross? Talking about the agitator. Come down off the cross and save yourself. And then when you get down off the cross, look up at me and save me. Talking about that old agitator. Are y'all gonna talk back to me? Yeah. They don't. We got some modern day agitators. They are not bold and daring enough to start a lie. The agitator is not bold enough to start the lie, Mary. But they'll jump on the bandwagon and they'll support the lie. Yeah, he did it. How do you know he did it? Can I tell you what they say? They say he did it. Were you at the cross? Were you there? Were you there? Try. They are not satisfied. Talking about the agitator. They are not satisfied unless someone else is having trouble. And when they find someone who has been knocked down, talking about that agitator, instead of them reaching down to help pick them up, they go talking about church folk. Yeah. Instead of reaching down to help your brother, you want to step on him and keep him down. They are not satisfied unless somebody's having trouble. They like the juicy. I heard when they wear a person down. And sometimes when you think they've made a change for the better, the agitators will start agitating again. Were you there? The third attitude, which impressed itself at the crucifixion, Harris, you ought to stop, is that of a manipulator. Yeah, the manipulator is one who look up like a pawn on a chessboard. The manipulator cares nothing about their worth and nothing about their dignity, but use them to achieve their own selfish end. Are you going to talk to me? The attitude was expressed by the arrogant thief, the manipulator who spoke to him, first of all, in a disrespectful manner, and said, if thou be the Christ, save yourself, and then come and save us. That's a manipulator. He didn't have enough respect to acknowledge that Jesus was the Christ. Yet, he wanted to manipulate him into saving his neck. Listen to the manipulator. If thou be the Christ, if you are the Son of God, if you are who you say you are, if you have any power over death, hell, and the grave, get down off of this cross and then turn around and use the same power to get me down. If you have any connection with God, use it to get me out of this mess that I'm in. Yes, thou be the Christ, save yourself. Well, would you believe that I told you there are manipulators? Manipulators who have their name on the church roll, but don't support nothing, no program that the church offers. Don't support nothing. Don't believe in paying time. Don't believe in giving an offering. Don't believe in helping those who need help. But as soon, preach Harris, as soon as the shoe is on the other foot, the manipulator, you won't go to the pastor, you go down to the office, and then ask the question, is the pastor here? Then they find the pastor. Pastor, yes, can I help you? I ran up on a little hard time, Pastor. They're going to turn my water off. They're going to turn my lights off. And Lord bless the little children. And my children don't have any food to eat. Pastor, can you help me? I'm sure glad Sister Harris ain't with me a lot of times because I have gone in my pocket and I have taken money out of my pocket to help individuals pay their light bill. You'd have seen them over at the gas station crying, Pope, let me show you what the manipulator do. Baby, I'm sorry. I can't help you, but you say that you're all of the church. And you say that you're following Jesus. Well, aren't you supposed to be the institution that if I need help, can't pay my light bill, can't pay the water bill, can't buy food, and I'm having a hard time. Aren't you supposed to be the institution to help me? Y'all ever heard of the pity party? That's the pity party. Manipulators. I'd like to ask you a question. Were you there? Or were you there? Well, I'm moving on to a close because I know you've been sitting in the hot sun. Then at the crucifixion, there were some called spectators. Yes, the spectators, they were there. They didn't have anything against Jesus, nor did they feel any attachment to Jesus. They just wanted to be there for the show. When they nailed Jesus to the cross, they didn't feel any sorrow, nor did they feel joy. They didn't care one way or the other. They were just spectators. They hadn't done anything to harm Jesus, nor had they done anything to help him. They were just there as a spectator. Well, let's go, Frank. I gotta go now. But I'm sure you know that there are some spectators in the church. Can I get a witness? They never get involved in any worthy cause. They never support any program. They never assume any responsibility. They just faces in the crowd. Yes, finally, my brothers and sisters, there was a man, in addition to Jesus' family and friends, who had the proper attitude. Can I get a witness? He was not an instigator, and he was not an agitator. He was not a manipulator. No. Was he a spectator? Can I get a witness? I'm talking about that other thief. I'm talking about that other thief. That other thief that hung on the cross beside your Lord and my Lord. He is the one that told the Lord, Lord, oh Lord, Lord, oh Lord. I call on the Lord. Yeah, help me say yeah. Lord, I want you when you get where you're going. When you get where you're going, please, please remember me when you get in glory. I want you to remember me. This man was a communicator. Can I get a witness? He communicated to a dying world that man that's hanging on the cross, he is the Son of God. Can I get a witness? He died. Help me say he died. He died. He died. Can I get a witness? Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Is he all right? Is he all right? Do you know he's all right? Can I call him? Can I call him? Let me hear you say, Jesus. Let me hear you say, Jesus. Is he all right? Is he all right? Gotta go now. Got to go now. That same man hung on the cross that Friday morning, and he died by 3 o'clock. He was dead. Can I get a witness? Took him off the cross, put him in a borrowed tomb. Stayed there all night Friday, all day Saturday. Are y'all gonna help me? You gonna help me preach this thing? If you're gonna help me preach it, let me hear you say yeah. Let me hear you say yeah. Help me say early. Sunday morning, he got up with all power in his hand. But before I go, I'd have to ask the question. Can I ask you a couple of questions? Can I ask you a couple of questions? Don't fool me. Can I ask you a question? Have you ever communicated with Jesus? Can I get a witness? If you ever communicated with him, let me hear you say yes. When the bottom seemed to be falling out from under you, did you call on Jesus? Can I ask you another one? When you were at the crossroads in your life, didn't know which way to turn, did you call on Jesus? When your back was against the wall and you didn't know which way to turn, did you call on Jesus? Did you call on the man who hung on the cross, dropped his head in the locks of his shoulder? That same man that died on Calvary's cross, is he all right? Is he all right? I told you that he died. I want to ask you that question. Were you there? I ask you, were you there? Were you an instigator or were you an agitator? Were you a spectator or were you a communicator? Or were you the man that said, surely? Can you say surely? Can you say surely? Can you say surely? Can you say surely? He died. Can you say that he died on Calvary's cross? I'd like to ask you a question. Were you there? Were you the instigator? The agitator? The manipulator? The spectator? Or the communicator? Can't nobody answer that question.
That's right.
But you.
That's right.
But I stopped by today to tell you. After 1 year, I stopped by to tell you that surely he died on Calvary.